Good morning, guys. Mr. Parisi here, and today we're going to be going through Unit 4, Lesson 9 homework. You were assigned questions 1, 2, and 3 for homework, so we're going to go through those now. If you weren't able to finish the homework or you want to check your work and make some corrections for a little bit of credit back, by all means, watch this video and resubmit on the Google Classroom post that is in our Google Classroom. So here we go. So number 1 says, consider the absolute value function f of x equals absolute value of x plus 3 only on the interval from -6 to 2. Evaluate f of -5 and f of 2 without a calculator. So anytime I have this f of -5 or f of 2, they really just replaced this x right here. So that's exactly what we're going to do in our function. So f of -5 is really just equal to the absolute value of, I see my x there, I'm replacing it with the -5 plus 3, whoops, not a parentheses, an absolute value. So -5 plus 3 is just going to give me -2, and the absolute value of -2 is +2. So that's my first value. My second one now is, I'll switch my color here, f of +2 is going to equal the absolute value of 2 plus 3. Keep doing that. Make sure these aren't parentheses. This is an absolute value. You see I'm making mistakes with that. So 2 plus 3 is the absolute value of 5, which is just equal to 5. Okay, so for part B, it says graph this function over the interval of -6 and 2. So once you start this, you could start calculating a couple of them. If I were to do really quick the absolute value of -6, I'm starting here, plus 3, it's just going to be the absolute value of -3, which is equal to 3. You're going to start to see this pattern. So I've got 3. We already know that the absolute value of -5 is 2 because we did that one. And likewise, we already did f of 2, which we came to 5. You're going to start to see the pattern here. -4 is going to get us 1. -3 is going to get us 0. -2 is going to get us 1, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we can go ahead and graph this right on our graph over here. So my first point is -6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up 3, 1, 2, 3. -5, 2. -4, 1. -3, 0. -2, 1. -1, 2. 0, 3. 1, 4. And 2, 5. So when I connect these, this is what all absolute value graphs look like. They kind of look like a V. That's how I remember them, absolute value. That V in value, that's what your graph is going to look like, is a V. Okay, so we've got that graphed. Now let's move on to our part C down here. It says, over which of the following intervals is f of x always increasing? So we'll get a different color here and we'll start to keep track of these. So for my first one, we have -6 is less than x is less than -3. So that would be from -6, which is right here, to -3, which is right here. If I look at my graph on that interval, am I always increasing? I would say actually the opposite's happening. I'm decreasing there. So that can't be it. Now for 2, from -2, where are we at here? -2 to +1. On this interval, am I always increasing? I think that's correct. I am always increasing it. I'm going up, so that's a good answer. But let's check these last two just to make sure. Number 3 says -4 to 0. Again, -4 is going to be right here to 0. And on most of this one, I'm increasing, but right at the start, I am decreasing. So I'm not always increasing there. So again, we've got no good there. And lastly, number 4, from -5, which is right here, to +2, which is here. And you can see on that interval, you're getting a little bit of everything. You're going decreasing to increasing. So it is not always increasing. So again, my answer for this one is going to be number 2, from -2 to +1. And again, we'll just show that really quick. -2 right here to +1. I'm always increasing. So number 2 is going to be my answer there. State the range of f of x on this domain interval. So range. Let me get rid of these letters over here. We'll clear this up a bit. And there we go. Okay, so we just talked about the domain of my x values. So this is a good time to write down some vocab. Domain is my x values. My range is my y values. Okay, so all my x values, you could look at this in a couple different spots. First thing, you could look at your table over here. So all my x values are listed, just like all my y values are listed. By looking at those, I could see exactly what my values are. When I look at my graph, however, it shows very nicely as well. My x values, my domain is from left to right. My y values are from bottom to top, my lowest point to my highest point. So if we're looking for range, I'm looking for my lowest point down here. My y value would be 0. And that's included, so it would get brackets. And my highest point, my y value goes up to positive 5. That's also included, so that's going to get brackets. Okay, so that would be my range. So I could come down here and write that in here. We said from 0 to 5, both of those points are included, so we get brackets. And let's go down to number 2. Are the two expressions x minus 5, the absolute value of that, and the absolute value of x minus 5 equivalent? Give evidence to support yes or no. Make sure we give evidence. Okay, remember, for expressions to be equivalent, they must have the same value for all the values of their input. So in order to be the same, every single number you plug in has to result in the same answer. In order to be, not the same, you only need to show that one number doesn't work. So sometimes the best way to start this is just try a few easy numbers. So my first easy number is going to be 0. So I'm going to plug in 0. Plug 0 for x. So if I do that with my first equation, absolute value of x minus 5, that's going to be 0 minus 5, which is just minus 5. And then my answer would be 5. Okay, so now in order to be the same, we need to show that that's the same in the other equation as well. If it's different, then we know already that these two expressions are not equivalent. So let's see here. We've got, this one is the absolute value of x minus 5. So again, absolute value of 0 minus 5 is just 0 minus 5 minus 5. So right off the bat, we could see that those are not equivalent. And we could say, therefore, the expressions are not equivalent. Okay, and that is the answer for number 2. And where did I put number 3 over here? My last one. So it says for each of the following step functions, produce a graph on the grid. So step functions, meaning at some points they're going to be different than others. I like setting up a table for these. I've got my x, I've got my y. Okay. And I'm looking here. Well, what x values am I starting at? My domain is given right over here. Okay, so it says I'm starting at negative 5, and I'm really going all the way to positive 5. So negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So a bunch of numbers. And then it's giving me the rule depending on what my x values are. So from negative 5, that's included, to 0, which is not included, my answer is going to be negative 4. So this is going to be negative 4, this is going to be negative 4, this is going to be negative 4, again, negative 4, negative 4, and I got to my endpoint where that 0 is, but because there's no equal to underneath that expression, 0 is not included, so I'm not going to put the negative 4 there. You see 0 is included in my next interval, so 0 is actually going to have the value of 4, just like the rest of these points. 4 and 4. And now you can go through and graph everything. So from negative 5 to 0, let's see, negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My answer is always going to be negative 4. And then as soon as I get to 0, so we're going to come here, open circle on 0 because 0 is not included there. As soon as I get to that 0, it jumps up to a positive 4, and it goes all the way to my 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that would be what my step function looks like there. All right, we could do the same thing for number 10 then. Okay, I'm starting at 0 and I'm going up to 12. So my x's, my y's, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's get some values here. So from 0 to 4, and again, 4 is not included, my answer is going to be 10. 10, 10, 10, 10, and now 4 it's not included. 4 is included in the next one. 4 is going to start off my 7s. Again, that's because of the equal to sign there. So it's all 7s until 8, and 8 is not included with the 7s. 8's included with the next value of 4, and that's going to finish off our graph. So when I graph this one, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5 right here, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 up here. So it'd be 0, 10, 1, 10, 2, 10, 3, 10, and at that 4, that's going to get the open circle. And we're going to continue with 4 right here at 7, 9, 8, 7, and go up until 8. 5, 6, 7. 8's going to get that open circle at the value of 7, and then 8's really going to pick up at 4 right here and continue all the way to 12. 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And there is our step function. Again, you can go ahead and go back and do corrections to get points back on this homework, or finish up the homework if you did not submit it already and submit it on the Google Classroom post. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day, and I will talk to you in the next one.